So, identifying your staffing needs for your virtual event. It's really no different than a live event. Hosting a virtual event takes a village. There are so many moving pieces and so many components that go into it. And it's really important that before you start, you identify what those roles are and lay out a framework for who is going to be doing what. It might seem that it's easier than a live event, and in many ways it is. However, there's still so many components that have to be taken care of, and there has to be a plan in place to do that and a timeline to make sure that all of the pieces are working together. So today what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through kind of a framework for what a virtual event team could look like. Now, this is just my kind of go-to framework, and of course this does not mean that you have to have every single one of these roles filled and that there's not one person that can handle multiples, but for the sake of this video I just want to kind of explain how you can break that down. So overarching, first and foremost, you're going to have you're going to have a producer. Chances are this is going to be the host of the event, not necessarily the MC, but the person who is the mastermind behind all of this. So this person's going to have that high level overview of the project. They are going to help to really identify what your topic of the event is, who the niche is, outline who might be speaking at your event, really create the organizational structure and organizational needs for the entire event. Budgeting, determining the right technology, and then really just focusing on managing the team and conveying, just that constant enthusiasm and, communication with that team. Obviously, people skills, super important, making sure that accuracy is maintained and holding everybody accountable. So that's kind of your director. That would be your go-to person. And in a lot of situations, this could be if you're hiring a planner, this could be a role that your planner could fill. Next, kind of in the tier structure there would be your producer. So first we had your director, and now you have your producer. Now a planner could also fill this producer role, and the producer is really going to be like your primary doer of things. So they're going to handle the logistics. They're going to work on, creating schedules. They're going to help with the technology development, curating the speakers, the sponsors, working with the content team, and working with everybody else. So really it's like that director, you can think of them almost as like the CEO, and then you have the producer that is that overarching manager that just ensures that everything is getting done. So depending on the size of your event, you might also have an associate producer, and in that role, what you're really going to be doing is, they're going to focus on the registration. They're going to focus on the website and the ticketing and any technical help that comes up, and then any other little pieces that need to have the slack, where slack needs to be picked up. So those are kind of the three kind of overarching, and in a lot of cases, you can complete hosting a virtual event with just those three roles. Now, many of you have teams behind you as well, and this is where, if you don't have a team, this is where, a planner can really help to step in. The toolkit that I'm creating for you, this is where this would really save you a lot of time on the front end or on the back end. Front end and back end, it's really going to save you a lot of time because it's pretty much all done for you, and all you have to do is just implement. So this would be like your marketing manager role, where they're going to build the awareness, they're going to create that buzz, they are going to come up with all of the copy for your social media campaigns, your content, your email. And when I say content and email, I'm talking about not just the copy that goes into the emails, which I've already outlined for you, completely written that out, and you just have to plug it in so that it relates to your specific event, but also your social media copy. Also have that for you. What I am working on now is just like, I want to make this stupid simple for you guys. So all you have to do is take the tools that I have and implement them and take off running. We right now are not in a place where we have an abundance of time to get our events virtual, because right now that is the way that we are creating awareness, generating revenue, and all of that. So that's where a marketing manager is really going to come in. They're going to write all of that, they'll write that copy, implement that copy, send out the emails, all of the website content, your social media, your surveys, your engagement, just everything that goes into that. Think about anything that has to be written, they're going to take care of that. And it's not, hopefully, they're taking care of all of that on the back end so that it's in place, automated, and ready to go, versus every day thinking, oh gosh, I got to send an email today, and then sitting there and writing it. So, and then the other role that with a virtual event, a lot of it, think about when you're at a live event, you get to use all of your senses. And in a virtual event, all you have is your sight and your hearing. So that's where a graphic designer or creative designer is really going to be helpful, because you have to create this experience that they see. So determining your logos, your colors, what your website's going to look like, all of the graphics, not just for your emails, not just for the website, but your social media graphics as well. Any content that you're going to be providing to your attendees, developing that content, laying that content out, making sure that that is in a visually appealing place for them. And then also, a lot of times they work on the creative elements with your audio and your visual, and just making sure that everything has a cohesive feel, represents your brand, and really just ties it all together to feel like a real event. And I know that seems kind of counterintuitive, that it's not going to feel like a real event. We've talked a lot about engagement and different things that you can do to help, to help with that. But it's just that overarching presence and brand that's really going to help draw, cohesively tie it all together, like wrap it up with a bow. And then the next one, which I think that a lot of people sometimes don't realize what goes into it, is having what I am kind of referring to as like virtual space staffers, right? So your event is happening, and the number of staffers that you have is totally going to depend on the number of attendees that you have. But these are people that, are going to be behind the scenes engaging in the QA, answering any questions that come in. It doesn't matter how many times you've told people. It doesn't matter if you followed the practice tips that we talked about yesterday. It doesn't matter if you have an FAQ and you've outlined it. People are going to have questions, and in the heat of the moment, they're going to go straight to that chat box. So making sure that you have a team that is equipped, one, with the answers to those questions, where hopefully you took my advice from yesterday and you already have a very detailed FAQ that they can leverage to have just canned response, that all they're having to do is kind of copy and paste those in there. But not just in your chat on your virtual platform, but also in social media, also monitoring the emails. There's nothing worse than somebody who's trying to log into your event and they can't, and then it takes you 30 minutes to respond. So you want to make sure that you have enough people and that you have clearly outlined how many, or which of those people is handling, what things. Those people also can really help you in starting that engagement. Have questions, have them enter in a question. And a lot of times it just takes, it takes that first person, then that second person joins in, and then that's how a movement is formed. So sometimes you just need those, those motivators to get the ball rolling for questions and things like that. And that's another thing with I'm so excited about this toolkit, and I know that I keep talking about it because all of these things that I'm talking about in here, like, I've already built for you. So even the FAQs, like, I've already outlined a lot of the common questions and how to answer them. And so it's really important that you can be as prepared as you possibly can before going into your event. And then obviously you're going to go back to that producer, planner, director, associate producer roles that we talked about earlier. And those are the people that are going to be on the back end, really making sure that the technology is running, that your sessions go live when they're supposed to go live, that all the technology is working. So really, this is just kind of 5, 6, I don't even know how many I just covered, different frameworks that you need to think through when you are planning your event. Because there's nothing worse, or at least for me, there's nothing worse than saying, oh yeah, I got this. And then, as my friend Karen would say, I don't got this. Because you realize that you have just totally overcommitted yourself, and then you're not producing quality. You're just rushing to get it done. You're stressed out, and what you're working on, which is supposed to be filling you up and providing service and helping people, then becomes a burden on you, and you don't enjoy it anymore, and it feels like something you have to do versus something that you want to do. So really laying that, groundwork, making sure that everything is clearly outlined, what you're gonna, who's doing what, and making sure that you have enough people to take all of that, package it up, and make sure that, you just have a magical event. So that's just kind of some high-level framework of staffing that you potentially could need for your event. Of course, it's just a framework, and I use some kind of formal titles, but that was just kind of how my brain processes to put it into logical buckets. But the most important part is that you have that framework, and that, you are setting yourself up for success. So if you want to talk more about any of those specific roles, how I can help you with those roles, how my toolkit can help you with those roles, or, if you kind of have an outline you want to see, is this realistic? Happy to look at it, happy to talk. Tomorrow is actually going to be the last day of this 10-day series. And tomorrow we're going to talk about staying top of mind during the event. So this is going to be a good one. Not that they all haven't been amazing, but we've talked this whole time about leading up to the event and engagement in the event, but there are some other things that you can do during the actual event to stay top of mind with your audience. So that's going to tie in a little bit more to the engagement piece, but different things than we've talked about before. And then I've had so many questions come in through email and direct messages and even some of the calls that I've been having. So I've been collecting a lot of those questions, the ones that I've been seeing repeating over and over. And so on Monday, I'm going to hop on and do just a live QA. I'm going to cover some of the most commonly asked questions. But in the meantime, if you have questions, add them in the comments, shoot me a message, shoot me a DM, or just hop on Monday at 2:30 and type them in the comment box, and I will answer all of the questions that you guys have been having. So I hope everybody has a wonderful weekend, and I will be back tomorrow at 2:30.